Yeah, why don't you sit down?
Yeah, it's over by Mike, maybe. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Am I out of the way?
Sit in the chair.
It's fun, try it.
Yeah, try it. Sit in the chair.
All right.
There you go. Go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. Three of you sit. Three of you might as well sit. There you go.
Grab the gavel over there.
Somebody's stuck in
They're smiling. I can go to the back.
I would.
Mike, you need to get in there. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2018 Division IV Volleyball Champions, State of Ohio. So this is a proclamation from the Board of Seneca County Commissioners. Tiffin Calvert Volleyball Day. That's what today is, November 13, 2018. Calvert Volleyball 2018 State Champions. Whereas in 2018, the Tiffin Calvert High School girls volleyball team, known as the Calvert Senecas, finished the season with an overall record of 26-3. The team had an excellent season, winning the state championship tournament. And whereas under leadership and guidance of head coach Lori Rumbach, the team competed in the state championship tournament in Dayton against defending state champs New Bremen. The Senecas defeated New Bremen in 5 sets, and I can tell you that it was streamed, for those of us that weren't there, it was being streamed live by Dustin Reisner and by 4 or 5 other people. So we were watching the Ohio State game and the girls' championship at the same time. Whereas the Seneca County Board of Commissioners recognizes all of Calvert's volleyball team members for the accomplishments they demonstrated over the past several months and for their hard work, dedication, perseverance, love for the sport of volleyball. The board also recognizes the entire coaching staff and the family of the players for their support that helped the team achieve this ultimate goal. Whereas, after several months of dedication, teamwork, and fun for a very talented team and their coaches, the Tiffin High School girls volleyball team season came to an end with the school being victorious at the State Champions Division IV. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners, in recognition of the accomplishments of the Tiffin Calvert High School volleyball team, hereby proclaim November 13, 2018 as Tiffin Calvert High School Volleyball Day in recognition of the team's championship victory. Calvert Volleyball 2018 State Champion. Thank you, ladies, and congratulations. Anybody like to say anything?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Of course, I'll say something brief too.
Yes.
I think the community support has been really overwhelming, and we really do appreciate it. It's been so much bigger than just even Calvert. I mean, it's Columbian, it's Hopewell, it's New Riddle, it's Old Fort. I mean, we received cookies and letters from schools throughout the whole county, and it truly is awesome to have that support. I mean, we're all competitors. We love to win, and we want to beat, you know, teams. But in a situation like this, the teams that we beat, they were the first ones to reach out to us and congratulate us. And I hope it sets a tone for us. You know, we'll do that, you know, going forward. So we just appreciate all the support from the community. It's really been quite overwhelming. And thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, next year, girls, don't take it to game 5. Some of us have weak hearts. Never done in 3, will you? All right.
All right, kids, take the rest of the day off.
Did you get the pictures? Did you get the pictures you needed?
Let's do one more. Ready?
All right.
No, cheers.
All right, let me know when you have yours.
Got it.
Good to go? All right, one more round of applause for the ladies.
Perfect.
I saw it on the schedule. Thank you, Coach. Have a good one. Take care.
Okay, that was fun.
If I show up late, is it okay?
Are you ready?
Maybe Dak, we had to build a parking lot, name it State Champ Parking Lot.
I think anyone that pays for the parking lot would have name.
We have the adoption of that one there.
But
Are they
that's,
coming?
are they, anybody coming? Okay. So, I will call this session of Sunny County Commissioners to order for Tuesday, November 13th. Please join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please join me in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask you to give us the wisdom to do what's in the best interest of those we represent. We ask you in a special way to watch over those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Here.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of previous board session from Tuesday, October 30th and Wednesday, October 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Okay, anyone have any adjustments to the agenda here today?
Just two brief updates on one on the Public Transportation Human Services Transportation Plan for Seneca County, that's a mouthful, and then district meeting for OPWC November 30th.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and begin with us?
Okay, the district meeting for, I think it's District 16 that we're in, for the Ohio Public Works Commission is November 30th, that's a Friday, it's in Mansfield. There's various Seneca County representatives, I've been the commissioner rep going to that. I would like to know if one of you could possibly go that day,
What's the date?
November 30th,
My wedding anniversary.
is it?
Congratulations, yeah, I can do it. It's in
Okay.
Mansfield?
It's in Mansfield, and I typically have ridden over with the engineer, but, you know, we can get the information
Yeah, just give me the
on it.
information.
But it's the day they will vote on the projects. They've done the scoring, you know, and then they all come together and they have the master list together and how they came out in the scoring and how far down they can fund projects, and that's what we do
Time.
the joint project for the, all the townships. It's usually at 10, usually over before noon.
Okay.
And then the Public Transportation Human Services Transportation Plan for Seneca County, just that they had sent it, I've been the representative on that planning steering committee. It's headed by WSOS, and they just had to do an update because of some changes with the Federal Transit Administration under the Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act. The key thing to all of this lingo is that this is an important plan to have in place because it makes a great difference for the folks with the Seneca Crawford Area Transportation, the Commission on Aging, Board of Developmental Disabilities, Veteran Services, anybody who has those transport vehicles, et cetera, for when they're going after funding and all of those things. So just wanted to give you the heads up that it's been reviewed by various people on the committee, includes regional planning, myself, folks from those organizations, and they'll be preparing the final now that everybody reviewed it and said, yes, go ahead, but it was really kind of a logistical update because of changing of things from the feds, but it's important that we know that we have a current plan and following those guidelines, and that will be done very soon.
Okay, in light of the discussion and work session, can you find out a time when John will be available for a capital budget meeting? We'll probably want to do that separate from any other meeting, call a special meeting to do that, talk specifically about capital budget items. I'd want to make sure he can be here, so we might as well wait to have that conversation. So, you guys agree to that? There ought to be a
Yeah,
separate
it can
meeting.
be a work session or a special meeting, doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, ideally, we could do it at 9 o'clock next Tuesday. Do it during the work session. So I think it'll take an hour discussion.
Tuesday, Shane, you have a Transportation Improvement District meeting.
I got kicked off that board.
Oh, that's right. But we are still allowed to go,
You've been removed.
Okay.
I've been removed.
so.
Okay, well, just go, talk to John, see when he's available. and-
But I like your idea, 9 o'clock next Tuesday, let's shoot for that, and, I mean, it's important work.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I see we have both folks from Economic Development Functions in Fostoria and Tiffin here. In respect to their time, is there anything you'd like to present today, or here to listen? Do we have any conversation, or where are we at with approving both of those contracts?
Well, I don't think we're at a point of approving either contract or have both contracts yet. We have, so we've got, but we need to have that discussion about those things. And then as it will lead to what we do or don't need in our overall budget when we're ready to do that, which I don't believe we're doing today, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess my concerns are the things that I think need work on. One is, how the interaction between SIDEC and FEDC will work in the western portion of the county, specifically as it relates to places like Loudon Township, New Regal, Kansas, Jackson Township. And if we had a funded rural development manager, how would that interaction be? So that's one of the questions that I haven't resolved in my mind. But I know that the trustees in Jackson Township would probably feel more affinity to FEDC than SIDAC, and how would that communication work if we were to create, a role in a position. The other question is more of a SIDAC question, or a TSEP partnership question, and that is, if we create a rural development manager, the rural development manager would facilitate projects, and we know what the biggest projects are going to be in the townships and the villages for the next several years. That's not a secret. So I'm not sure that the board, the TSEP board, is there. So I would need to be, make sure that that the TSEP board is there intellectually on facilitating projects in the township. So those are the two things that I would need to resolve in my mind.
Okay.
I know I've had discussions both with David and with Renee, just vetting through some ideas, and the more seamless is what I think makes more sense than drawing the line down, the township boundaries and going, okay, this here, because I think, as far as unity and as far as lending expertise, based on what projects have been completed, haven't been completed, what relationships that are built, and I've shared this with both of them. I don't know that it makes sense. Oh, but sorry, you're gonna have to work with them because that's in the, I think unity doesn't have those lines, and I, realize that obviously Fostoria reaches in and has with multiple counties and so forth, but if there's a project in an area that one, David or Renee or someone on their staffs has the expertise, has done, why would they not want to jump back in on a similar type project on the other end of the county? Kind of a thing, if that lends their expertise to that based on relationships, based on experience, based on whatever. So that was just a thought I had openly with both of them, discussing how that looks.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what timeline we're on here. We've talked about this for a couple of months now, I think. And I'm not sure what we need exactly to be able to approve. They're doing their budgets as well.
Right.
So they've got to have a sense as to how we're going to fund them in 2019. So I would like to, sometime before the end of November, certainly, give them a definite answer as to what our funding is going to be.
Yeah, we just had not had discussion here. We've had whatever any of us have done individually.
Okay.
But talking about the fact after the concept come up sitting at our meeting in Fostoria that night, and then since we've gotten the draft contracts and that kind of stuff. So I just think there's probably some.
But we do have, just to clarify, we do have proposed contracts from both.
We don't have
You have one from David.
Right,
and
that's TSEP.
what we can do is basically mirror, some of the things would change where it says TSEP, FEDC, but a lot of it would be very similar as far as workforce development, business retention and expansion, things like that.
Okay, so why don't we try to have both of those submitted, since we have David's, if you can modify yours and get it submitted for next week. then we can have the discussion and see if there's any covenants we need changed or amendments to the contracts and make a decision.
Yeah, I guess what I'd like you guys to have is a conversation of how that might look if there is an opportunity, say, the example I used at 224-23, you know, if we have a rural development manager, is the rural development manager on that? Is FEDC on that? You know, where those lines are, just so that I know that there's coverage and there's not turf. So we want to make it better, not worse. That's one of the questions.
Okay, so we'll go to the TID, Transportation Improvement District, and we have been discussing whether that ought to be a TSEP person or regional planning. Any thoughts here?
You know, I looked over, both David and Charlene had sent us information, both pretty much said they're indifferent. I mean, they're not gonna, you know, they just stated how they're thinking on it and what their thoughts were both ways. And I'm back to my original, and that kind of solidified it to me, is that if economic development is bringing the project, which is, you know, that the TID is to be a tool in that toolbox for additional funding for projects that are linked to economic development. It's not just about roads, it has to be linked to economic development. That I think it works well to have regional planning, which was an original thought we had when we were talking about the formation of the Transportation Improvement District. So that's where my head's at on it.
Yeah, I'm just salty because it's, you know, it was a place where we could all come together and work on transportation together. And, you know, I can't get behind the Attorney General's decision of why the mayors, they're elected, they can, you know, they can participate.
Not a commissioner, yeah.
But not the commissioners. So, you know, I've become much more indifferent to the TID because it's not the vehicle that it once was. It's not the cooperative tool where the commissioners have a seat at the table. So, you know, I'm far more indifferent about the TID than I was before the Attorney General ruled.
And at least the person, whoever it is our representative, right? It's, you know, the person we're naming, so, but I have to agree, you know, I don't know why.
Well, I mean, it might be something would be worth talking to Reineke about and see if we can't get some legislation to fix that, because, you know, all of what we try to do is cooperative efforts and collaboration, and you know, here we've got an adverse ruling that's going to take away some of the cooperation, and it's, you know, and I think you said this early on, Mike, if you're on the board, you have a higher level of commitment than if you're you know, invited, and so the fact that they've taken that away from us, you know, I'm still a little salty about it because it's one degree of separation that we didn't need.
Okay, so a motion to put regional planning as a TID member?
I move that we appoint the regional planning director, meaning by the title of whoever that is, as the representative from the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to the Transportation Improvement District.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kersher?
Yes. Okay, we've done the economic development contracts. It's budget time.
Yeah, I sent you guys a first preliminary draft of the budget. I do want to note that I do not have any funding extra in for the FEDC and Tiffin,
Right.
or Tiffin Seneca Economic Development, TSEP. I pulled those out because I don't really know what they are. So the original funding is still there, but there's not any extra in there. I did put 3% increases. I think I gave each of you the amounts, 2% to 5%. I just plugged a 3% in so I would know where we were at. I'm trying to think if there's any other, you know, big changes.
Extension agent was the,
Yep, and that's because we did a contract for the extension agent that is included.
I had a question on contract services. It looked like that was down. Is that relative to, for John?
That is because the annex and the Justice Center is one building now, and now we have a
So it moved to a
operations
different-
fund.
yeah.
So it will be, we actually moved $100,000 to our transfers out for the Justice Center and just took that out of his budget to cover that. City will be paying their share. We give them an estimate on our budget, they do 25%, and in February, they're gonna true up once we get Maximus's sheet to true up on the stuff, so.
Okay, so from what I remember, we certified 17.8 for 2019.
Oh, Budget Commission,
Yes, Budget Commission, okay.
they,
And your budget was someplace low 17s,
17.4.
17.4, okay. So at this point in time, we've got a balanced budget and some carryover based on the numbers that we have so far. Do you need any action on our part regarding the raises for the staff, for the employees?
Just, if you wanna change it, if you want it the same. You know, there was some talk about trying to do a little bit more, but we didn't know where we'd be sitting at.
Like you said, that is without it in there, that's with it?
That is with the
That's what I thought.
3%, I added 3% in.
Yeah.
Some departments that specifically asked for additional is in there.
That was already in.
Each, you guys each got the letters and the,
Right.
Yep.
for each of those departments, so those are in there.
Is there anything else you need for us to be able to pass the budgets completely next week?
We have to
Just
go to the
take a look
economic
at it.
development part.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Well,
we
we
could always
can-
put that in later,
Sure.
if we sign the contract.
That's literally the amount of raises in the economic development. That's,
Yeah.
well, good job.
I took the, I know we had agreed to give to Seneca Fair and Attica an additional.
Right.
It's not in the budget, but I have it noted to do it first thing, so we do it out of carryover, because that wasn't necessarily a long-term
right.
goal of the commissioners. It was to do 18 and 19 additional funding, so that is not in here, but I have it noted to do it at the first of the year, unless you want it in there.
How much would the addition be on the request of the amounts from the economic development folks? We're paying what now, and the request is, refresh me.
Honestly, I don't know what the request is. The contract that I seen had an amount for TSEP for $116,000.
Yeah.
I have not obviously seen anything from Fostoria. They did ask for additional 30 next year that we kind of had preliminarily agreed to do. So those are the only two numbers that I've got that I don't have in there, what they got last year.
Twelve or 8.
We had.
Normally,
8.7.
yep, 8,750 goes to Fostoria.
I said it was 67.
And, yep, we did the original 17,000 in the budget, and they came in and asked for additional 50, so we gave them an additional
So
50.
67.
Yep,
So the round figure 75 is what we paid last year, and 146 is what we're looking at, proposed. So, let me call the number 75 just for the sake of rounding. All right.
so, then we'll go over the capital budgets the next session,
Right.
and non-generals are pretty, they stay within their revenue. There's a couple that, you know, obviously we need to look at the capital improvements and.
So the 17.4 on your proposed would become 17.5 or thereabouts.
Putting in those,
Yeah,
that'd be, because we're at 17,466.
yeah, so we're pretty close to 17.5.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. Any other questions on the budget? Okay, we are at intervention in the Seneca County Wind, or Seneca Wind Project.
All right, well, I put together my thoughts on in a resolution. So, you know, we had a successful meeting with a lot of input, and so
Why is it not going over to this side? Yeah, and it keeps popping up on my screen instead of the other screen. It won't pop up on my screen. It's like way over here on mine. It's a sign. get it from this screen over there, it won't, it's like it's not letting it come up.
All right, we'll just, keep it in the frame and not everybody can see it.
But I completely lost it. Oh, yes. It keeps throwing it back over here.
We didn't have a power surge. Power went out on Friday, and we've had technical difficulties since then.
Oh, really?
We lost our server. They got it back. So.
Okay, so we're talking about Seneca Wind LLC. And so whereas Seneca County has utility scale wind project that is accepted under the 2011 Alternative Energy Zone, namely Seneca Wind LLC, and whereas this project is moving forward under the Ohio Power Siting Board process, the state regulatory agency charged with approving and regulating utility wind development, and whereas the Ohio Legislative Service Commission, the nonpartisan research agency of the Ohio House of Representatives, has indicated that relative to the day-to-day operations of the average coal burning plant in Ohio, wind farms represent a minimal public health threat and minimal environmental impacts, and further states that they are unable to find any article in a peer-reviewed journal that substantiates the claims that wind turbines cause physiological harm. And
I just zoom
Just
out
zoom
a couple
down.
clicks.
And whereas our concerned citizens want us to address potentially serious drawbacks to wind development, including the impact on karst zones, low-frequency sound, wildlife, aircraft navigation, flicker, ice throw, groundwater, and the impact on schools. And whereas it is a desire of the Seneca County Commissioners to support property owners and their right under Ohio law to lease land for the use in utility-scale wind farms. And whereas the inauguration of an energy sector in Seneca County offers a degree of diversity to the local economy. Can you scroll that? And whereas utility scale wind intends to offer significant new resources to schools, townships, counties, libraries, as well as fire and EMS districts. And whereas Seneca Wind LLC agrees to be governed by a road use and maintenance agreement managed by the county engineer. And whereas Seneca Wind has initiated partnership discussions with a local university to fund educational activities. And whereas the wind development companies have agreed to train local fire and EMS personnel. And whereas our township trustees have asked us to rescind the alternative energy zone, and whereas the county commissioners in Ohio take an oath to support the laws of the state of Ohio and not undermine them, therefore be it resolved that the commissioners of Seneca County hereby formally support our property owners in their right to participate in this project and by extension support the project. Be it further resolved that the board formally requests that the Ohio Power Siting Board, the FAA, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the EPA, ODOT, and all other relevant regulatory agencies diligently evaluate all matters related to ground and well water, karst zones, health and welfare, noise and flicker, as well as wildlife impact, specifically bats, raptors, and migratory birds. And finally, be it further resolved that new applications under 2011 Alternative Energy Zone must be submitted to the proper authorities by 9/19/19 at 9 a.m. At that time, the Alternative Energy Zone will rescind to new applications, thus sunsetting the Alternative Energy Zone program. So that's my motion on non-intervention. And if we have a second, I'd be glad to have a discussion.
I will second. We need the discussion. So, this is first seeing this. So on 9/19 of next year, the sunset comes into play that does not mean that, or is that, for the state of Ohio, there is no longer any alternative energy zones at all? That's not what that means.
No, this is just for Seneca County.
Okay.
So, my thought is, we've been requested to rescind. I think it's fair to property owners to give them some advance warning. If there's a solar project out there, for instance, that's being discussed with the property owner, they've gotten some time to, finalize that. The property owners can go to the wind companies and say, if this project's going to move forward, there's advance notice that the law is going to change. I think that's eminently fair. So that was my thought there. That we, it's eminently fair to give advance notice that we're going to change the tax laws. The other thing is that by not intervening, we give the townships the opportunity to use a prosecutor, because we won't be a party to this. So, by not intervening, we, the townships, if they choose to, can use the prosecutor's office. So I think those are the two largest elements of the resolution.
And that date, remember, is significant, not, the year anyway, for the credits, right? With what this projects have, I'm gonna look to Gordy, because was there a sunset, what did it say?
I think in 2021, I think the law sunsets, so I'd have to look at that.
Okay, so this is really not it's not in, okay. I know there's a sunset on that, but I don't know how that works.
Yeah, so, this is just giving some semblance of advance notice to developers to, have this conversation with their property owners.
Which is less than a year out.
Less than a year, yeah.
And then you're also saying, even though not directly worded in there, that, it said in there where it says we're not intervening, basically.
It doesn't say, it doesn't say we are intervening. So we're, my recommendation is that we don't.
But your discussion is that you're signing the waiver.
Well, in this case, for Seneca Wind, we wouldn't be an intervener, so we're not a party to the case, so there isn't a conflict, is what they're saying.
Well, I'm really not in a position to approve this at this point, because I haven't had an opportunity to absorb it, first of all. I would need the whereases and the wherefores understood before I move any further. I think it's a move in the right direction. The term rescind the AEZ is within the resolution. I like that. But I do need to further understand what all the elements are of this resolution. Secondly, I would need some clarification from the prosecutor as to the fact that this board has formally approved on behalf of the county the wind projects. And even though we would not be intervening, is it still not a conflict for him to represent the township against? If you follow my thought there, I'm not so sure that even though we're not intervening for, that we still don't have a conflict, because the prosecutor works for the county. We have stated that as majority, that we are in favor of the projects. So I'm not certain how that still isn't a conflict for the prosecutor. So, having said those things, I like the direction, but I can't approve it today because I have not had an opportunity to review it in its entirety and understand which of the whereases I like and don't like.
Mr. President, I will move that we table the motion.
All right, I will second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
And just for everybody else's, edification, that, we don't have the opportunity to discuss these things before we come in. So, by their nature, sometimes they appear as a surprise, but it's just the way the law is written as far as how we contemplate business, so.
Okay. We are at new business. Oh. Julie, would you like to speak, my dear?
Yeah.
Come in, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I know in the past, there's been conversation about, I presented to the board information on a GIS study. Since that has occurred, the individual that was in the position took another position elsewhere. So actually, that's why I was late. I was interviewing for the position. So it's a restart for the county on GIS, but the thought is still there to pursue the study, to come up with a best practices for approach. And I know that in the initial committee meeting for GIS, one of the concerns that a member had was the fact that, I'm leading this charge right now, but where will GIS be in the future? So I think it's important that the county consider maybe solidifying its position with GIS. I've also presented a very, very tentative draft when I submitted my budget in support of a GIS department. I don't know where the commissioners are in thoughts to that, but I just wanted to present the information for your consideration.
All right, so you have, what do you have there? Anything that we can review, or?
I had submitted it to Stacy earlier.
Right, yeah, we had a conversation about that. Okay. Let's, give us some time to review it, let us put it on the agenda for next week, and we'll have a discussion.
Funding mechanisms for this is general fund, is REA fund.
I was hoping for a dual funding option with REA funds as well as general fund, with the potential to collaborate with other entities in the county as we go forward. But definitely for 19, looking at a dual funding of REA funds and general fund.
Yeah, we'll put the number down, take a look at it, and we're gonna, probably finally approve the budget next week, so we'll have some discussion.
Have we had a conversation with the engineer? I mean, he's got GIS, right, parts of it?
The engineer is in charge of tax map, correct?
Okay.
Right. So you're welcome to talk to him, but if you need any additional information from me, please let me know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, emergency services technician, here we go, somebody else, huh?
Yeah. I think this was brought up at the last Homeland Security meeting, and Ken and I were discussing it. Our current emergency service technician, he has indicated that he, not far down the road, he plans on
This is Mike?
retiring. Yeah.
All right.
He hasn't given us a firm date on that, but he says he's only got a couple years. Talking to Ken, we have a person on our Echo crew that works quite a bit with Mike anyway on programming radios. He does it for the city of Tiffin. The service technician, I think, is going to need to be a full-time person working with Mike. But what Ken was kind of asking, and he couldn't be here today because he had conference, and I forgot what I put it on the agenda. So he had conference. So EMA's budget is pretty limited. We fund the majority of it. The rest is his EMPG grant, and it's 2 years behind. So if we hired an additional person, we're not really sure it'd be funded anyway. So, but the other employee is willing to do training with Mike, and actually has already worked with Mike on quite a bit of stuff. He's willing to do it part-time for now, but did want us to know he wouldn't be looking at being that full-time person when Mike does leave. So my concerns are...
Some backup.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have a backup, but, I don't know how soon that we should have somebody actually get an employee to start training. I know Ken was at least relieved that we have somebody that's interesting and that's gonna be around for a while, learn what Mike knows. Sure, something happening to our system, and we rely heavily on Mike to do that.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm sure this, I have no idea of the personalities here, but I would hesitate in making any promises. Certainly you want somebody to train, but if for whatever reason it didn't work out, we wouldn't want to give anybody any false hope. I mean, I hope that it goes smoothly and he would transition into that position, but I don't think we can do anything or indicate that that is a guaranteed full-time position sometime in the future.
But he said he didn't want it
No, long-term, yeah.
long-term anyway.
It would be kind of a backup for him.
Just be doing-
My
Oh.
thought is, when do we want to get?
So this guy isn't gonna eventually step into what Mike Clace is doing?
No,
Okay, all right, I got
Just
you.
wants to be, is willing to be the backup, which is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
but.
Is he gonna, is Ken still looking at the position descriptions with the vacancy position?
Yes.
And, okay,
He's working with Aaron
all right.
from Clemens Nelson, getting those. We had a meeting with the state. They gave us some suggestions on changing the job descriptions, taking some more stuff out, putting some stuff in. So we're just having like Aaron look at it compared to what we've had in our job descriptions to see if it fits for us, because it's kind of a hybrid of what some counties do with emergency management. I mean, the previous director took on a lot of, other duties
Yeah.
with communications and 911, so.
Have the events that have occurred changed to the December 12th meeting? We're scheduled to do the EMA workshop for all hazard preparedness.
I will have to check on that, but I'm guessing it hasn't changed.
Okay. Is that our annual, that's not our annual preparedness meeting, and to kind of fake an emergency and go like a better way, fake a tragedy. Those are the best kind.
Just says hazmat training.
Yeah,
That's different. They always do
Yeah,
hazmat training.
okay.
yeah,
All right, I just didn't know whether if the EMA guy's not there.
right. But, yeah, I'll check to make sure.
Okay.
But I think they'll still move forward with it. Part of the EMA and LEPC will be.
So what do you think Ken's asking for? I'm not exactly clear. He wants to have this guy be the backup.
Yeah.
So does he need some additional funds to do that?
Yep, we're
Okay.
looking at about maybe additional 30,000. This year, he would have it in EMA's budget just because we didn't have an employee.
This year being 19?
This year being 18.
Okay.
If it's okay to have master training with Mike paying for him out of EMA instead of current coming out of the ECHO budget.
Okay.
And then next year would request an additional 30, and he would only be working on part-time. So he wouldn't have the health insurance benefits, but that would include supplies, training, salary, for that, for 19. Just something to think about. I don't need decision
answer that.
today,
All right.
but just wanted to kind of bring it up. I don't want to get to the point where he's got 6 months left and we've kind of let it go, and all of a sudden he's leaving. And
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I want to look at that safety service budget
Okay.
and figure out, because we added ECHO last year,
Yep.
and that's back in for this year, so
Yeah.
we've ramped that budget up.
Yeah. And we'll have to do that LGF resolution. It's usually the 3-year, and this is our last year for that LGF resolution. That's where we give Ken money, EMA. We do the floodplain, all out of that resolution. So we'll have to do that next year. So just something to think about, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll definitely have Ken come in.
Okay, CCL Winter Conference, December 9th, as I recall.
Starts on the 9th.
Starts on
Starts on
the
the
9th.
9th, yeah. I know I am attending as a board member of CCA.
We need to move our meeting, that's one thing that we have to address.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Move it to Thursday,
Thursday's fine, because that public safety.
or we can
is on
cancel that meeting, I don't know.
Wednesday. I'm okay, let's schedule it for the 13th. If we don't need it, we can cancel it.
It's just, it's rough coming back from a conference and hosting a meeting, so. And our budgets will be passed, I don't know what else is on for that week.
Okay.
For some reason I have a work session down for the 11th.
Well, that's just the normal second.
Oh, second,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
I don't know that we had anything scheduled for it, but it's our normal, by our reorganization.
Let's tell them we plan it for 10 a.m. on the 13th, and we can always move that, but for now, everybody will be aware.
And then in January, we had an evening, is there anything else on the CCAO? I mean,
Nope. Just the-
No, we don't have to pass anything for somebody to be the voting person or anything. Did we already take care of that, Nick? Oh, we already did that, okay. Never mind. Okay, we did it with the reorg, okay.
In January, we have regional planning, the comprehensive planning, and we have an evening meeting scheduled at January 15th. Is that when your meeting is?
15th is the Fostoria meeting.
Fostoria meeting?
14th and 16th.
These are the area meetings on the comprehensive plan for public
Thank you.
input. I'll fill in the blanks that he skipped
Oh,
over.
okay.
Like, all of
I
you-
knew what I was talking
All of
about.
you were at that steering committee meeting and knew exactly what he was talking about.
Tuesday, the 15th of January, we have what?
There's comprehensive planning meetings that are being held across the county. There's gonna be 3 of them.
On the east to central and west kind of a thing. So that is the night the day Fostoria has chosen to have theirs, and that led into the schedule that we're not now where you're going with it.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. So my suggestion, I think we had off-campus meetings scheduled for
Oh.
quarterly off-campus
Yeah,
that
no,
night.
On the 15th?
Oh, I figured we're gonna have to discuss that at the reorganizational meeting, but I went ahead and put those on there just since we do them
Okay.
quarterly. So we haven't,
Okay, I
I've
saw
got
it
it
on the
on the
calendar. So the
tentative.
point is, my suggestion would be that we have an abbreviated meeting on the 15th in the evening in Fostoria so that we can participate in their comprehensive plan meeting that's over there. Same night as city council, I think they're gonna have an abbreviated meeting, and they're inviting the citizens from Fostoria area, or really anywhere in the county, to come and weigh in on the first draft or first viewing of the comprehensive plan priorities.
So there'd be kind of a stacked meetings with city council, presumably yours. Okay. Because
And
the first one is Monday night.
See, I have,
somebody gonna put these on the calendar?
They
we
actually,
have them
yeah.
on the
That's what I
10th.
was thinking, but-
You're not saying
Don't we have
yet.
regional planning meeting on the 10th, a regular regional planning meeting
Okay.
of December?
December 5th is the regular regional planning board meeting.
No.
It's December
Oh,
5th.
December 5th, okay.
Okay.
How
And
about
you want-
January?
January, it's gonna be, January 10th will be our executive
Yeah,
committee
okay,
meeting.
that's what I have, all right.
And then the 14th, 15th, and 16th of January are evening public sessions regarding the comprehensive plan.
And the 15th happens to be in Fostoria.
Yes.
Okay.
What time are these?
6. And the 15th will be at the Learning Center.
So I thought we could coordinate between, once we know what city council's gonna do.
All right, and we haven't really, I mean, one of the things we haven't done is establish our meeting schedule for
Right,
2019, so
Yeah,
we may or may not have a scheduled meeting that night.
right.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the winter conference is the 9th, 10th, and 11th,
Yeah.
right? And the reception with all the dignitaries, or all the electors is on the 9th, the evening of the 9th? I thought,
Oh, I didn't bring my agenda
yeah,
with
I
me.
believe that's true. So, Shane, you heading down?
no, I'm not planning on it.
Okay, I'm gonna go down the 9th, that's the first one I've been to, and I think it's about time I get there, so. I'll
Do
go.
we have to make any special appropriations or anything?
No, we have some in trouble.
Okay, we are now at supplemental appropriations and adjustments.
Alright, I have resolution approving all supplemental appropriations and appropriation adjustments submitted through the VIP system for the board session of November 13th, 2018, and I'll go through those. I have a request from juvenile probate court. Put on my screen, probably a little bit out of order of what is on the agenda. They're asking for $500 into their contract service line. The Community Development Block Grant Fund needs an additional $24.31 into their Clinton Township Fire Equipment. I'm guessing getting the last remaining part of that grant paid for. And then I have the supplemental appropriations to our transfers outline. This is $30,000 for the Justice Capital Improvement Fund in our lease agreement with the city. The city puts in $10,000 and the county puts in $30,000. So we didn't get that put in place, so that's what this is for. I did send them their bill and they're processing their portion of the bill.
So it's gonna be 40,000 a year.
And it increases by 3% every year unless we come to an agreement with the city that we can either waive that, but it is already set, the first year is 10,000 and 30,000.
So when the furnace goes out 10 years from now, we got money to pay for it.
Right, so if we can get that boiler to hold out a little bit longer.
All right.
And then I have this one's on the agenda. When did this one come in? I have one on there for $4,366.68, but I don't see it on the agenda. Looks like it's at the request of the engineer. He wants to put $4,366.68 into his contract projects line. And then I have a fund transfer be made to the Justice Center Capital Improvement Replacement Fund. That's for that $30,000 to transfer.
Right.
Then I have a resolution authorizing the addendum for the agreement with the Seneca County General Health District for 2018 nursing services on behalf of the Seneca County Youth Center. And I think those are all the resolutions I have.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
So move to approve the resolutions as presented.
Okay,
Second?
roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, we are going to go into executive session, but in respect for folks' time, are there any comments before we do that? I don't know how long the executive session will be. We don't anticipate any action, right? Okay. Comments from anyone? I would like to publicly thank Cheryl Raden Norman. I think we had a great campaign. Thank you very much. I think it was run as it should be. As far as I know, not a mean word was said between us, and that's a wonderful thing. That should be America, at least. I hope it is sometime again. So thank you. Yes, Mr. Thompson.
I just had one question. Going back to the document that Shane brought up today, the whereas papers, is that available for public review?
Yeah, I just made some copies here. You guys can pick them up on the way out.
I just have one comment.
Yes, sir.
I emailed it to you.
Shane, was there any kind of significance in that date? The 9/19?
I picked it. It's alliterative.
Okay.
You won't forget it now, will you?
No. Maybe do lotto numbers, who knows? All right, thank you.
Okay, I will accept the motion to go into executive session for the purpose of
Personnel compensation.
personnel and compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.